What's up? What's up, everybody? It's Friday night, and if you don't have anything better to do, you are here with us talking fantasy football. I've got a crew tonight, and we're going to start it right off with a big happy birthday for my guy, Joe Frick, there in the bottom corner.
Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks, man. 21 feels good. 21 feels good.
21.
I was going to say, don't screw with me. Don't say 21. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. It's been a long time since I've seen that birthday, and don't make me feel that old.
He ain't 20. I think you put on your Facebook, was it 34? Ooh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, man. Cat's out of the bag.
Congratulations.
Hey, I'm turning 34 this year too, man. I'm right there with you. This is the year to go 34.
90s kids, we're here to party. Let's get
91. Let's go.
Me and Haibo will just be up here as the older guys hanging out.
Yeah.
80s, just have more life. 80s 21 with more life experience. That's all.
We got some people already popping in the chat. Corey, let's get it, fellas. Amber, happy Friday. What's up, fellas? Hey, look, we've got a wild show today. We're going to do something really unconventional. As you guys know, if you've seen on social media, we have partnered with Haibo and Smashup Fantasy Sports, and we are doing a playoff challenge. Over $2,500 in prizes, free to enter. And, Joe and I was talking about it before the show. And Haibo, kudos to you guys. Joe's like, man, I set my DFS lineup, and I felt really good about it. But he was like, but then I clicked the cards button. And he was like, these aren't like small things. Like, these aren't like little things that he's like, they're massive.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about Smashup. What kind of, got the wheels turning on it, for the viewers.
Yeah. First off, Tyler, Joe, Brian, thank you for having me on. Love you guys, and we're super excited to be partnering with you all. I've been playing. So me and my co-founder, Chris Hauk, we've been playing fantasy for 15, 20 years at this point. And after a while, we found that, by and large, the only thing you can really do, if you really think about it, the only thing you can really do in fantasy is kind of pick who you think is going to do well and play them. And that's it. Like, everything else is kind of out of your hands. Like, if you think, not just that overall they're going to do well, like, what if you think someone's going to do poorly? Or what if you think, like, hey, it's really windy, so I think there's going to be a good ground game, but a poor air game. Well, you have no real way of kind of expressing any of those other views other than, hey, I think this guy's good, I'm going to start him. So we basically thought about, how can we basically give how do we give players more control over their team? Like, imagine you were kind of like an omniscient GM, right? That has just way more power over your team. And that's how we kind of came up with Smashup. Like, you pick your team, but you also have all these power-up cards. If you guys play Madden or FIFA, kind of like those ultimate team type power-ups that you can then kind of play on top of your team. And it really kind of helps you express your views. So, if you think, hey, this kicker is pretty bad, I'm an Eagles fan, so we had Cody Parkey on our team a few years ago. We cut him. He went to the Bears. We played them in the playoffs. We knew, hey, Parkey's no good. I'm gonna bet against Parkey. Sorry for all you Bears fans out there. Bringing up some painful
right.
There.
Justin's a little salt in the wound there for them.
But if you think, hey, I think this guy's gonna miss some field goals, or if you think, hey, this quarterback's gonna throw some interceptions or throw some incompletions, you can get points for that, right? You should be rewarded for that knowledge, and you can play these cards and get points for it. So we basically built this platform to let users try out all these different cards, and so far it seems to be going pretty well.
Yeah, man, I know I've been enjoying it. I've played with you guys all season. I'm in the Tournament of Champions. You threw the loophole of the new card that doesn't really insert until next week, but I'm like, I hate that. But it'll be fun. It's the twists and turns of the game. We got Dennis in. Hi, Amber. Saying hello to Amber. Let's see. Let's go. I'm in the tourney. Appreciate you signing up. Albert, what's up, Albert? Albert, if you're watching this, go to playoff.ffadvice.com and sign up for this tournament. It is free to enter and $2,500 in prizes. I know you could use a little extra change in your pocket, so go sign up. Brent said, are you guys excited for the playoffs? We are. We're very excited for the playoffs, and I'm excited for this freaking tourney because, it always happens. Like, you finish the season and you want more, and everybody goes crazy and starts drafting Dynasty leagues that they're going to quit halfway through the summer because, like, I'm in too many leagues, or they shift over to, like, Underdog or something like that, and it's like, it's crazy. And used to, NFL ran a playoff challenge, and we used to run that every year. We'd run a big playoff challenge. We were like in the top 10 as far as large private groups for those tournaments. And then NFL just killed it. And so for like 2 years, we haven't had anything to plug in. And so when we got this, I was like, I'm pumped. Even just to have something for the users to engage and play, it's exciting. Got Corey saying the tourney will be wild. These power-up cards make it so unpredictable. They do.
I think that's the game changer. Like, I'm in a handful of like DFS tournaments and like as far as DraftKings with some like friends and leagues and stuff like that. And like, don't get me wrong, I do them every year. They're awesome. But what sets apart this tournament, it's so much different. Like, when you get that gut feeling, like Vele, the guy that I cannot get enough, maybe, turbos on. This is the format that you can. You got a gut feeling about this random ass dude you want to drop extra points on. It's not a showdown turn. Like, I know DFS or like DraftKings has a showdown with, the 6-time players, but you can't get it this style. So when you go with this style with these kinds of cards, the way you can turn it, like, just my strategy mind gets turned on. I literally I was supposed to be working for like 3 or 4 hours today. Yeah, it's y'all's fault. Literally sat there like, all right, if I did this card, oh my God, what would happen? But then you start looking at this one like, well, it's strategy galore. It's only 6 games. It's a way different DFS slate than you normally look at. But yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm pumped. This tournament's got me pumped the way I'm looking at DFS.
Brian, I knew you would be nerding out on this thing.
Oh, dude, big old like pitching a tent as far as nerd goes. Like, let's go.
God. Remember, Grandma's watching.
Hey, Grandma knows what $2,500 looks like. She knows how to win a DFS tournament. Let's go, Grandma.
And a championship ring, by the way.
Happy birthday, Grandma. My grandma turning 60 something this month. Let's go.
Just a shout out to I saw the ring design that Tyler shared. It is dope.
Sweet.
It is dope. So certainly the money, but you get the nice hardware there too.
Yeah,
right?
gonna have that bling. Cool. So before we start getting into it, I told Dennis. So Dennis popped in like right before the playoffs and started following us, and I mean was in the DMs all the time, like asking for lineup. And he came in on the network. It was the final week of the playoffs. He was down like 18 points and needed a Hail Mary, and we took care of him. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this up from the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. That is Dennis with his championship belt. Was able to pull it off, and so congrats, Dennis, on your championship. Always glad when we can help out, and thanks for being a supporter and a follower. So let's hop into this DFS lineup. So I'm gonna pull up the Smashup Fantasy Sports, and I'm down here in the cards. Let me go back up. Okay, so this is a standard lineup setup. You got quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex, kicker, and defense.
Love the font,
budget,
by the way.
50,000, card budget 12,000. I actually had a guy at work that joined this thing, and he pulled up. He's like, "What do you think of my lineup?" And it was all players in, and he had selected no cards, and I was like, "Looks great." No, I told him, I said, you didn't use your card budget. And he sat down and he was like, oh my God. And then he sat there for like 2 hours and worked on his cards. Who invited Corey? Corey, you're always invited to the show. So, and Haibo, we're going to lean on you a little bit because as a creator, I'm sure there's a lot of, inside knowledge that we can get, especially if we appreciate Dennis. Glad you're a part of the team. Make sure you sign up for the tourney. It's a blast. It's free. Links scrolling there at the bottom. But there's a lot of ways that you could kind of go at this. So like when you're starting to build your lineup, what are the first, what's the first spots that you're kind of eyeing in on in your budget?
So one of the, if any of you have been playing Smashup over the course of the season, one of the main strategies that a lot of people really like is basically going really running back heavy. And that's worked out really well. Now, a little secret for you all and for everyone kind of watching the show, we just released a card 2 weeks ago that hasn't seen a lot of play yet, but I think it's a league winner. I think it's potentially a tournament winning card. So I actually like to maybe start on the card side and just to share this little, bit with everyone. If you scroll down, it's called, I think it's around 5,000. The card is called 2-Minute Drill. And it is basic. So if you click on the card, it should pull it up. It is basically the wide receiver tight end version of it. But I think it's better because you can have this card basically gives you a 75% boost to any wide receiver or tight end in your entire lineup. And you can get 4 of those compared with the running back one, which you can only get 3. So now the downside is it hurts any of your running backs. But, I think this is a potential game-winning card. So if you close out, maybe we can build a lineup structured around this 2-minute drill. So, if you go back to your players and just say, I'm going to blow my entire player budget on the best 3 wide receivers I can get and the best tight end I can get. And
let me go ahead and add that card to our docket here. 2-minute drill. All right, so
and for 5,000, that's not because you get a $12,000 budget, so that's
not bad. Yep,
it's not bad at all in terms of value.
All right, so we're gonna go wide receiver, and let's load it up. So, are we just picking in the top 5, top 6 here? If you get,
I will lean on you guys. Who do you guys think is just gonna go off this week? The three best receivers.
I'm really feeling good about Puka this week. I feel like they're going to heavily use him. Minnesota, they're one of those teams that they have a good defense, but because they're high risk, high reward, we know that the Rams are going to have a focal point for a long time. That was Cooper Kupp. It's now Puka Nacua. So he's somebody that, cards aside, because I think the difference in this tournament, what you see to other tournaments, is a lot of times you get to pick one guy for the playoffs. This is, hey, what is my best monetary option in a situation like this? Puka's going to be that number 1 target. They're probably going to be throwing a lot. I have Minnesota winning this game. So to me, that feels like an easy pick.
All right, what about you, Brian? Who's your top receiver?
Oh, man. Talk about playoffs. Talk about a time to tilt. Talk about somewhere oh, man, I've been back and forth on most of these games. But, yeah, I don't mind the Puka pick. I like it quite a bit. As far as just top end guys here, it'd probably be either Puka or Justin Jefferson. I just feel like the opportunity, the ceiling of where we're looking at, if we're going top end wide receivers, those are 2 of the guys I'm looking at.
So we go Puka, Justin Jefferson.
We're doing both together. I love it. Let's go.
That's pretty strong. I probably, for me, I'm between 3 here. And they're pretty tight. I like Mike Evans, I like Ladd, and I like McLaurin. So for now, we're gonna go Haibo's direction, and we're gonna layer it up with the top, and we're gonna go Evans, Jefferson, and Puka. But we have McLaurin and McConkey in the back pocket if we need to reduce budget, because
Cool.
we can get McLaurin for essentially $1,400 cheaper.
Yep. So now let's go to tight end. That's the other place. And, tight end, I don't know. For the playoffs, when I was looking at it, it's a little bit, towards the end of the season, certainly, Bowers, Jonas with the Dolphins, but neither of them are here. So I don't know.
Can I toss out Isaiah Likely? Zay Flowers is out for this game, and the Steelers blitz Lamar like none other, just to try and keep him on its toes. So when he completes passes, it's got to be quick. It's got to be out of the pocket. And I think Isaiah Likely might be the guy that favors out of this lack of Zay Flowers. So
as a Steelers fan, the tight ends are heavily favored as like a target option against the Steelers. So I definitely support that. Funny enough, in the last 3 weeks, the Rams have been the most prevalent fantasy team to tight ends in the last 3 weeks. So
okay.
Hawkinson also pretty solid option. But if we're looking at budget, I do really like the Isaiah Likely pick. If you look at what he did against the Steelers this year in both those games, big touchdown in the first game, also highly effective in the second game. So I think he actually scored in both games, actually. So I think that's a great value pick. And especially like when you're trying to cut budget on a position that you don't have a card for, I think that's awesome.
So we got a couple people popping in the chat. And guys, if you have thoughts, if you want to give your opinions on the roster, drop them in. Michael's saying, thanks for the show. Dennis, I really like McLaurin because they need him to advance. I don't mind McLaurin either this week. Michael said, does the Rams or Vikings have a chance to play 3 or 4 games? That's what I'm thinking, to choose JJ or Puka, or I may play both. I hope. Well, in case you're wondering about this, let me clarify. So in our tournament, it's not like the NFL Playoff Challenge where you have to keep the same lineup every week. You will get to set a new lineup every week of the playoffs completely from scratch, assign cards completely from scratch, and each week is a separate competition with its own payouts. And then if you finish in the top 5 any given week, or finish in the top 10 in overall points scored throughout the tourney, you will make the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl will be for $1,000 grand prize and a, playoff challenge, championship ring. So, and they're pretty heavy duty. I have one over here.
And while you're looking for that, we need to address Mike correctly. That's the fantasy football meatball right there.
Oh, that's meatball?
That's meatball. That's just any regular Michael right there.
What's up, meatball? But yeah, so you see, it's pretty heavy duty. Somebody will be rocking one of these if they win the whole thing. So don't worry so much about later weeks. Pick your best optimized roster every single week.
Right.
And no worries. Let's see. So we got tight end. So we like Likely over Andrews. Is this a budget move?
I think it's a lot of it's a budget for me. I think Andrews, he's going to catch another touchdown. What has he done in like 6 games straight? Like he's going to catch another.
Let's roll. The purpose of this card was to max out our wide receivers, tight end, and flex, because our running backs are going to take a hit. They're going to get a 0.25 multiplier. So we need our best players there. Let's do that. And then from here, I personally kind of want to get my kicker and defense out of the way so that I can see what I really have available for those running backs and quarterback. And we're already getting pretty low on budget. So we'll start defense. As far as defense goes, I'm willing to go down here pretty low and just roll with somebody. And there are cards to help with that. I can tell you one of my favorite ones that have been to run with this season is this card right here called Burnt Ends. It says if your defense allows 35 or more points, this card is worth 30 points. So I love taking a garbage defense that I know is going to get scored on and playing them right there. And here's the thing, if they don't get 35 points scored against them, like if you go, let's say we're going to play that card, which I don't know if we'll have enough money to or whatever.
I don't think that we did. Yeah. But to your point, if you play that card and it doesn't work out, that means that your defense did well. But if they don't, then you also are rewarded. So you're basically eliminating all risk from the defense that you pick.
Right. So, I've liked that card. Haibo, is that a good one for you? Do you use it very often?
I do. I think it's really, I mean, every week we do a show where we take a look at some of the metrics from the previous week. And there are weeks, I mean, the Titans defense made our most, top pick defenses multiple weeks. I think exactly for that play. Titans plus burnt ends was a winner a couple of weeks in a row.
So I like that. I also weirdly like Denver this week. It could be one of those weeks where, Josh Allen kind of gets put on tilt or kind of has to do it by himself. We got Joe over there shaking his head no. But if we need a cheap defense, who are you going to take out of those bottom really?
Should I cover everything up that's in the background for me right now?
No, it's okay.
So Pittsburgh has historically played Baltimore really well defensively. So getting them as the cheapest defense is pretty absurd. I think Denver, I always think about playoff football as who has the best quarterback. Denver versus Buffalo, that's easy. Green
Bo
Bay,
Nix, obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course. The Green Bay Philly game, I don't think they have any chance. To me, if I'm thinking about defenses, I kind of like what the Rams could do against Sam Darnold. He looks a lot like Sam Darnold lately. And that's about the Pittsburgh vibe, the Pittsburgh bias.
So let's roll with that for now. We'll roll with Rams. And then kicker, probably go with the cheapest top 5 guy on the year, or a game where there could be a lot of points scored. I don't even mind going Zane. I think Washington gets in the red zone a lot. I think they'll finish more. I probably like Cardi or Lutz, I like Denver to move the ball a lot and not get in the end zone. I like the Rams to move the ball a lot and not get in the end zone.
So to your point, the highest over under so when I think about playoff or not even playoff, kickers in general, Boswell, first team All Pro. Respect to my guy.
Come on.
But Commanders and Buccaneers is a 50.5 total over under for the week. When I think about kickers, I think about who has the highest over under and who is favored. Tampa Bay has the -3, but that's basically you are the home team. So that effectively makes them like an equal challenge. I think Zane Gonzalez is an extremely great, not to knock the process here, but I think 5.5 is a very low projection for that. And I would ride with that all day.
Yeah, I think I'd ride with that too.
Binking said, I'm crushing this contest. Be looking for me up top. Love the confidence.
Yeah, we found our second place guy. Somebody sit behind me. I love it. I love it. Let's go.
So we're gonna go with this insanely cheap, apparently under projected Zane Gonzalez because Washington's gonna score a lot. All right, so that leaves us 16,000 and an average budget of 7,000 for running back.
Oh, we got cash because if you look at the players, like that's the interesting thing about this is that the defense, the tight end, the kicker, very reasonably priced. Like you can get elite running backs like for 7,000. So for me, knowing that we're only getting 0.25 points per player on the running back side, I'm looking for quarterback at this point, and I would pick the best quarterback that I have available.
I would agree with that. So I think the key to this card in particular, I would go with the best quarterback you can do. And for the running backs, you actually want kind of bad running backs because your running back, the better your running back does, it's going to hurt that card point. So one thing that I've seen be pretty successful is Roll of the Dice as a card. By the way, Roll of the Dice won a ton of people a lot of money this year, especially playing it against any of the Lions' 2 running backs. So Roll the Dice. Basically, the card says I think you get double the points on your player if they play less than half the offensive snaps. And when you have Montgomery and Gibbs splitting carries, they both kind of like playing that card on either of them basically was massive. And it's really cheap. I think Roll of the Dice was only $1,500 or something. So it was a really good combo there. So yeah, I would spend the budget on the QB and then basically like take the best quarterback you think that's going to do well.
And I would think too, like knowing that you've already like had like a negative multiplier on the running backs, like what cards can you do to maximize? Like we've already maximized the wide receivers. What can we do to maximize like the quarterback at this point? Because you're already saying like you're punting on another position. What can we do to maximize somebody that we're paying a premium for already?
Exactly.
So if we're going into quarterback, right, let's talk about that. I mean, who do we, you look at the top 5, right? You got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield. Who do you want or who do you think has the biggest game?
I think you roll the dice with Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen they're a game like when he can go I'm going to do this myself and just, take over an entire game. Like the rushing aspect. And certainly, I mean, Lamar, can't go wrong with Lamar either. I would probably go one of those 2, but
if you weren't going with this strategy though, the person that I would look at would be Herbert. So if you look at the Texans in the last 3 weeks, they've given up 25.5 points per game last 3 weeks to quarterbacks in fantasy. But given that we have better options available to us because of the capital that we have, then that probably wouldn't be my pick.
So we got Beaking in the chat. I've won 2 million makers. Says in the house, he said Puka ownership will be through the roof. Is Puka free? So Puka will probably be in a lot of people's lineups. Baker at quarterback says Jerry. Michael also screaming Baker. And Binking says Jaden with the scrambling card. So Binking's already been in there. That's not a bad matchup. And I mistake when I said 7,000 a piece left earlier. We had 5,500 left per. So we may need to save a little money here at quarter. Or we'll go with what Haibo said. We'll go Josh Allen and we'll see what running backs we can get at 4,000 a piece. So if we can get somebody with some upside and then really punt on somebody else.
I was actually going to say, do you mind if we take a look at cards real quick?
Sure.
So there are 2 cards that I want to highlight. One is right there at the bottom here, $1,500 Special Teams Ace. Special Teams Ace, basically this card says any punt or kick return yard is worth 0.2 points. So normally, it's 0.1 per yard, right? Like every 10 yards is a point. Here, it's 0.2. So every 5 yards of any kickoff or punt return is worth 1 point. Now, over the season, Turpin was by far the most, I think there were games where Special Teams Ace scored like 30 points just because Turpin went nuts. But to you guys, are there any running backs that are really cheap that also plays as a return guy that, they break off a big return and Special Teams Ace blows up for you?
If it was Scott Fishbowl season, yeah, I'd be tossing guys at you left and right. But this point in the season, I don't know if I have the stones to dabble in that.
Yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is I think we already talked about, which is just roll the dice. If you think there's any running back that's going to get basically 3x, sorry, not 2x, 3x, triples their score if they get less
tempt me
than
more.
if they get less than 30. So by the way, I think the average offensive snaps is something like 58 or 60 offensive snaps. So yeah, it's about half basically.
So I like that card in a Denver running back room.
Yeah, but Mims is their main return guy. But I mean, I guess from like
no, not that one. I'm talking about the snaps.
Oh,
so like
yeah,
for example, if we think like Estime's not going to get that many as many snaps, but he could get a touchdown. He gets a touchdown.
Who is your favorite Denver running back?
He gets all the end zone work. Yeah, so that's.
So every touchdown with that card is worth 18 points per touchdown if they score one.
Ever since
now Haibo, there was a question. I think I've mapped it out. So cards affecting score. So for example, like let's say Estime gets three or gets a touchdown. He gets in the end zone, so he gets 3. Well, he's got a 0.25 multiplier. Does that 0.25 impact the score before the card or after the card?
So every card is independent of each other. We basically built it that way so you can get into some pretty crazy like stacking effects if you did have cards kind of impact other cards. So right now they're all independent of each other. So it's as if every card is played by itself. So the roll of the dice will operate just off the raw score, not any modified score.
Right. So the modifier will base the base score, but they'll still get the full, points from the card. So
Exactly.
I like that Estime, and we're gonna go ahead and put that roll the dice on him. I like that call. Now we got a $5,500 budget. Now we also have the ability to go down at wide receiver if we want to, and go to like a Mike, like take Mike Evans and move him to like a McLaurin or something, and that opens up
tight end. Maybe we go down to an Isaiah Likely. Who knows? We're throwing out things. We're talking crazy.
So right now at running back with $3,900 left,
it's gonna be tough sledding.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So let's try this.
No. Let's do the tight end. That's what the people want.
Yeah. Who knows? We tried the tight end thing. Maybe that works.
Maybe we'll do this one first.
Democracy is dead, people. That's what we heard tonight.
Yeah, that's what you heard. Okay, so with McLaurin,
we're putting a share of FAN on the block right here, folks.
So you can get up to Jaylen Warren or Najee Harris.
It's a Jaylen Warren game script, by the way, as a Pittsburgh fan.
So let's try this. Let's go back to Evans, and we'll move Andrews and go to Likely.
Oh, that sounds dumb. Who would think of that?
Oh, I know, right? And that leaves you the exact same budget.
Oh, no. In Australia.
So
it's like he thought this out ahead of time just to screw with me. Tyler,
I know, right?
That's not nice.
So let's go from Mike Evans to McLaurin. Let's just see if I can find him again. McLaurin. And so we've done Likely and McLaurin switch, which gives us 6,800 on it. So now we're up to James.
Oh, we're rich.
Cook. Now I will say this: we've got 6,800, so we're $200 away from Bucky Irving against Washington.
Give me James Cook all day.
You like James Cook?
I like him a lot. If I look at the lineup that I currently have, Bo Nix, James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, Puka, Terry, Tucker Kraft, Cortland Sutton, Will Reichard, the Chargers defense.
So this works. Okay, now if we were gonna take advantage of this route, we've got a $5,500 card budget. So let's see here. Looking at this, Haibo, what's something that we've got to roll the dice on estimate. We've got the 2-minute drill, which is projected to give us a 17.5 projection over the top of those players. Our total projection is sitting at 112 right now. What's something that you're looking to see here on this lineup that you think could really be impactful?
So I think we got to do something with our top guy, which is Josh Allen here. So I think if you go to quarterback cards, if Josh Allen, ultimately, I think with a lot of these tournament things, you don't, I think we're paying out the top 5, right? Like you don't win any money if you get 10th, right? If you have a really good lineup, that doesn't get you into the money. You need to have kind of a, that high variance type thing. And so I think going with, we're basically betting that, certainly our receivers are going to go off, but let's say that Josh Allen also just has a crazy game, something like Turbo Boost at 3,500. All points from rushing, basically all rushing yards and touchdowns get a 2x. So if Josh Allen rushes for, 80 yards and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, which we've seen him do, right? We've seen Josh Allen have 2 rushing touchdowns. That can add up really quickly. This is basically a better version of the Scramble Spikes card. Now, Scramble Spikes is cheaper, but it has a downside. Turbo Boost has no downside. It's purely you get all upside on all rushing yards and touchdowns.
I like that. I also like, if you want to spend a little bit more money, I like Mr. Relevant on 250 yards passing and 20 yards rushing and getting a 30-point bonus on that. But for budget purposes, let's go with the Turbo Boost for Josh Allen. Now that's going to leave us $2,000. So we're going to go to the all just so that we can see kind of what's available at that point. So you got chess piece for the selected running back. Each reception counts as 2 points. Not so wide receiver, scramble spikes, golden arm. Every passing touchdown by your quarterback is worth 8 points instead of 4. There's the special teams ace. I don't think we have a returner. Extra credit. I like this card. It's pretty cheap in that all extra points by your kicker are scored basically like they're a field goal. It's 3 points per. So if you think that if you think Washington's going to score a lot of points and that he's going to get a lot of plus ones, that could be strong. What are you guys thinking here?
Oh man, this is tough. And this is the fun of like playing on a platform like this, because it's typically like I have point per first down or anything. Like there are so many different ways that you can construct your lineup to have a successful outcome for this. And I think there's the most variance when you have Wildcard Weekend. You have so many teams playing. You can do this in so many different ways. So it's like I'm very excited to see how people attack this weekend. And I think you'll have a lot of copycat strategies when you go into the divisional round based on how people do in the first week.
I think that builds on the beauty of this platform and how you play, is because, we only have 6 games. So it's kind of limited to how you play in DFS, the way you attack it. But 100%, if you have a gut feeling on something, you can chase it. Yeah, you're not necessarily thinking, the Steelers game, I don't think there's going to be any offense on the Steelers side, but I think it's going to be tons on the Baltimore side. So I'm going to pick, Isaiah Likely. No, you can put a card that doubles down on Bateman or on Aguilar, on whoever you think it's going to be. And it's not like just picking those players than you would in a normal DFS tournament. You're going out and winning the whole thing because you followed your gut with these extra cards. So like it's playing to the skill of DFS, but also playing into your gut, which I think that's the beauty of the fantasy. Like fantasy football, I've got all of these websites and all of these metrics that I follow, and that's what helps me win. But like what sets me apart in those luck categories is when I follow my gut. And I think that's what is awesome about this is it really lets you follow that.
I agree. It's fun. In fact, we're gonna I think we're gonna double down here. Michael says Human Vulture is cheap and full of value. I agree. So, in a world where we are depending on estimate for a touchdown, right?
Yep.
Let's go to this Human Vulture and play that also on estimate. So, if he gets because we're not really looking for him to get a lot of rushing and receiving yards, and those will get a 0.5 multiplier. We're looking for him to get in the end zone.
Yep.
Right. And so if we're dependent on estimate for a touchdown, then there's essentially if he scores one touchdown with the pairing of the way that we've done those cards on two pretty cheap routes there, we're going to be looking at times 5,
well,
basically.
Well, so they don't stack. But you are getting, you're getting 18 on one and 12 on the other. Yeah. It's going to be.
Yeah, that's why I said times 5 for the touchdown there. Because you get the one touchdown, and then that'll be times 2. And then you get the other touchdown, that's times 3.
Times 3, yeah.
So that's, if estimate does get in the end zone, all of a sudden he's a pretty strong score for you.
Yep.
And then maybe we throw extra credit on Zane, and that gives us a total projected points total of 126. And I'm kind of moving through that. I'd love to try to put one more lineup together. I know we're running a little tight on time. But, 126, how do you guys feel about this lineup?
Well, I can't play this now that everyone's seen it.
Sure you can. Just because we played it doesn't mean somebody else can play. That's the thing with the power-ups is like they completely change everything. And that's why we can have 25 people in the Super Bowl and be confident that there's not going to be a tie. So let's do this.
I like this lineup mainly because, again, it doesn't if estimate doesn't get a touchdown or something like that, it doesn't matter. Like I said, if you got 10th or you're 100th, right? It doesn't matter. You finished out of the money. But if he hits, this is a lineup that could take you to number 1. And that's really what you're looking for, right? That high variance. If you call it right, you're going to win type of game.
And I think that's what's cool about this tournament. So, Tyler, the way that it's constructed, it's you have the top 5 from each week. So you can take risks and see what happens. If it doesn't work out this week, fine. You're not done for the year. It's a clean slate every week. So it's what can I do to maximize my chances to get me to the Super Bowl? Take those risks, do those things, let it fly. There's nothing to lose in 1 week.
Yeah, I definitely think you're going for the ceiling plays here. You want to try to get max points. Risk it for the biscuit. It's $2,500 on the line. Well, there's 200 given out per week, and then 1,000 grand prize plus again the championship ring.
Oh man, look at him! He's got it in this. Oh, he's ready.
Fits. It's fitting pretty good. Ice on the hands.
Sorry,
right,
man. That's tough.
Let's see here. Binking said he's finding it hard to fit Puka in. Puka's expensive, but he's a good player, so you gotta give up somewhere. He said with the cards added, it has great potential to go over projection. I love it too. So let's do another quick. I'm gonna remove the players here, and we're gonna do a quick or as quick as we can, a 15-minute build here, and just go at it another way. So, Haibo, one of my favorite things this year, and like you said, it's been really popular. And for those of you listen, we just went wide receiver heavy, was going running back heavy.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that style. And in that, I'm going to go ahead and put a running back in here so I can select the player. We're going to put Saquon in.
Oh,
I know, man. We're spending the dollars.
Offensive Player of the Year, MVP.
Well, what?
Yeah, we want Saquon, and then let's go at running back 2. Who do you like? Derrick Henry went for like 130 last time he played Pitt. We got a replay? Do we like Josh Jacobs?
I don't
Kyron?
like Josh Jacobs against Philly, if that's what you're asking now.
So would you rather have a Kyron against Minnesota, a Derrick Henry against Baltimore, or Mixon against the Chargers?
Let me say this. Kyron in the Los Angeles Rams offense, the running back has scored in 7 of 8 games when they're the home team this year.
Michael said he wants to start with Barkley and Henry.
I mean,
I like where you're leaning with Kyron, so we're going to keep Kyron as the drop back. And in the flex, I'm going to go with probably my favorite, I guess not really cheaper, but kind of cheaper running back would be Bucky. But for the savings of $300, we're going to go with Joe's hot pick of James Cook this week. So there we go. And then we're going to go over to our cards, and we're going to go to hellacious halfbacks.
Ooh,
This is one of my favorite cards. But if you notice, your quarterback gets a 0.25 multiplier to their score, while your running backs get a 1.75. But
so we're playing Justin Fields.
So
Maybe.
can I make a suggestion for QB? So this is probably Chris. Chris is going to hate me for this because this is his secret sauce formula. But he loves playing hellacious halfbacks paired with a quarterback that you think is going to throw a ton of picks, and then play that defense and play takeaway car. So basically, you want a bad quarterback anyway. So which quarterback do you think is going to throw a ton of picks? And if you think, maybe Darnold is not looking so great, maybe whoever else we think, is doing that, or maybe Hurts with some rust, Russell Wilson. Like, it could be whoever you think is going to throw some picks. You take that quarterback and then take the opposing defense.
So and another, I love that, Haibo. Another thing that I've done and honestly, Chris was doing really well in the pro league, and I was like, man, what's he doing? And so I went and noticed, because you can look at rosters after the game, and I noticed that he was playing this card, and I was like, and so I started kind of going through my own route, and there was a card that I found that I really liked. So like in this instance, like somebody that I think is going to be playing from behind and they're going to have to throw a lot, I might go Russell Wilson here, right? And then I'm going to go to the cards, and one of my favorite that's a little bit cheaper that I've liked to play is this right here, Projectile Dysfunction. And every incomplete pass that a quarterback throws is worth 1 point. And so I was playing that card on like Spencer Rattler. I was playing that card on
Kirk Cousins.
Like the guys that thought they were still balling quarterbacks but just couldn't get the ball in a receiver's hands. That's where I was wrong. I played it on DTR was really cheap. I played it on DTR. I
bet he was the GOAT for that card.
So like something like that is good on a cheaper. It is a little bit more expensive. So potentially a Russ there. with that. We'll come back to. Let's just kind of fill out the rest of the lineup and see. We're definitely going to have to, I think, supplement the quarterback if we're taking such a big hit to the quarterback. So I want to save room for a card on the quarterback there, but let's try to fill out the rest of this roster a little bit to see what kind of room we might have if we can upgrade. So on a kicker, I'm fine with playing a Gonzalez. I think that game's going to be a high scoring game. We can save money there. We just did that in the last one. Defense, we played Rams last time. I want to try to go cheap on defense personally. But I'm okay. Let's just go. You said Pittsburgh typically plays Baltimore well. So let's just throw that in there. Just maybe.
Just
okay.
To see how it feels.
But really what we're trying to do is we're trying to, I think, maximize. So we got 5,600 left for a wide receiver, and a tight end.
So if you start with a tight
end is going to be a lot cheaper than the wide receiver position.
Exactly. Yep.
So if we go to tight end, we're looking deep.
Musgrave?
Nah.
I mean, he's only 20.
I mean, you could go likely, but you're playing the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, in a 6-game lineup, you got to kind of throw out some of those rules.
I also really like Tucker Kraft there. He's only 500 more. Or a Dallas Goedert back. But I think I like Tucker Kraft a little bit more. Christian Watson's supposed to be out this week.
Definitely take Kraft over Goedert just because Goddard's the third option for Philly.
So let's go that. Let's go Tucker Kraft. Now, for our next wide receiver, let's go somebody deep. Like, who's somebody you think that could have – and I've got a guy in mind, somebody that could have a great game, but is not on anybody's mind.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins is on everybody's mind. Somebody that's not on everybody's mind.
I was hoping maybe y'all weren't remembering him.
I mean, I said Marvin Mims, so Nico Collins was not on my mind.
So
Bam, look at that.
Marvin Mims, 5,100.
Really? More expensive than I would have guessed, but I get it.
I really like Rashad Bateman this week. I think he reaps the benefit versus likely, but that's me talking. That's cheap. Then you got Brian's guy down there. You got Vele at 4,100.
Look, that was a talking point. It wasn't last week. He made me some money in week 18. That's all I was trying to throw out there.
Well, so we've had like 2 weeks in a row where Zacchaeus has been absolute fire.
I think 4.5 or 4 of his last 5 weeks, he's been over his 32.5 yard line. So yeah, I do like Zacchaeus as well. More as a prop set. I haven't tried him in DFS.
If we go cheap, do we like McMillan at 5,200, Mims at 5,100, Bateman at 5,000, or Zacchaeus at 4,400?
So I would almost go the opposite and say, who do you want on the top end? And then, because I think if you take Zacchaeus, for example, and just see how much money you have, like you can take basically everybody, right? Like at this point, you could take Jefferson if you wanted.
If we have Zacchaeus in there.
Yeah. So it's almost like, who do you want on the top end? And then
let's do this.
Let's go Puka again.
Puka there or JJ. I like either. Let's go. Y'all like Puka or JJ?
Are you really gonna make me do this right now? It's like picking a favorite child.
Pick one.
Well, there obviously is always a favorite child.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, JJ it is. So we got JJ. So then we go down here for our second wide receiver, and it is Bateman. Johnson's not bad. Zacchaeus. I think we roll Bateman. What do you think?
Well, I mean, given that his projection is 4 points higher than everyone else.
Right. That Nose Flowers is definitely leading hard Bateman.
So let's throw Bateman in there. Now here's the thing. So when we look at this, we've got Pitt defense. We got 2 Baltimore guys.
You got to throw it out the window. It's 6-game slate.
Well, so what it feels like here is maybe we're thinking that Baltimore might score a lot of points. So is this a game that we throw burnt ends on for a shot at,
No, that game's going to be like a 24-21 game, and whoever has the ball last is going to win. That's every Baltimore Steelers game for the last 15 years.
How did
Tomlin's
the
not
Steelers
gonna
do
win,
on
though.
sacks, by the way? Are the Steelers a pressure-heavy team?
Yeah.
They pressure the crap out of Lamar. They blitz on the highest rate that they do against him.
Maybe something like Sacks in the City. You're getting 4x on any sack that happens.
Oh,
Yeah. So we're playing Sacks on the City with with Pittsburgh there, hoping that they're going to get to the quarterback. Now we go down to quarterback. We need to power up the quarterback because we deflated him. We've got 4,000 left. So let's see here.
Oh, projectile dysfunction right in your. That's
Man,
right
I kind of want to do it. Is there anything else that we see here that we might want? And maybe we get to play another card as well. Golden Arm. Do we think Wilson throws some touchdowns? Probably not. I like him to have a lot of incompletions.
I think the projectile dysfunction card will outweigh the amount of touchdowns that he throws. I think if the Steelers are going to win this game, they're going to win it on the ground.
Or let's do this. Do you think that Russell Wilson will throw picks in this game? If you think he will throw picks,
it'll be 1 interception. I think he fumbles more than he picks.
Yeah.
So for Goldfish Memory, it doesn't matter. Either will get you points. The question is basically, so Goldfish Memory basically is 10 points for every turnover. And then Projectile Dysfunction is 1 for every incomplete pass. So part of this is is he going to get 2 turnovers? Or is he going to go more than, 10 incomplete passes?
I think I'd ride the incomplete passes over the turnovers.
Yeah, and his completion percentage has not been great. If you're expecting them to trail in that game, I mean, that seems like easy money.
Yeah, they're going to be throwing it quite a bit.
So
I hate what I'm saying. This is a Steelers fan. This sucks. Why'd y'all ask me to be on the show?
We've got a lot of people. I mean, JJ was a big hit with everybody. Michael and Amber yelling JJ. Corey said, "What's the highest lineup projection anyone's seen for this week?" This is the highest lineup projection that I've put together.
This is hot. Yeah, 155.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've been in 102. Why am I on the show?
This will probably be my lineup. So if y'all want to match it, you can try.
Right.
I may swap out. I may swap out one of these running backs for somebody that I think might be a little bit more effective than somebody else. But I'll keep that on the hush hush, just for me to know and you to find out when I win this thing. But yeah, so any takeaways? I mean, we're hitting the 10 o'clock time spot, so we're about to wrap this thing up. But I don't know about y'all, but I'm pumped for this tournament.
Well, I was until I saw what you were able to do with this lineup with friends on the chat. I thought I had this locked up.
It's okay, just a little voodoo, just kind of get your mind messed up, So this is really just an effort to put you on tilt. I've really already put a lineup together that's got 175 point projection. But,
170, that's it.
I want you questioning yourself. I want you all mixed up and arguing with yourself, so you just make that mistake. I need you to make that mistake.
I'm just waiting for the conference championships. There's only 4 teams playing, and I'm just like, oh well.
It seems like it will be easier, but the downside is with the power-ups, it won't be.
No, it won't. It really won't.
But yeah, so there it is. Again, we've got the Fantasy Football Advice Network Playoff Challenge, partnered with Smashup Fantasy Sports. It is free to join. Over $2,500 in prizes and one of these bad boys. Make sure you get signed up. Link is in the description. Appreciate you guys tuning in and coming live with us. Haibo, definitely a privilege to kind of get in your head a little bit.
Thank you guys. This was great. And I think, even just talking about this here, I think think about all the different strategies and different ways you can go, come at it. We're super excited to be partnering with you guys. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great tournament.
Look, it worked. Meatball's already on tilt.
He said it's too spicy, my friend.
Corey said this platform is a smash up of DFS and prop bets. It's a smash up of I think of it like I don't know. I love it. It kind of brings out the inner nerd in me. I'm over here trying to play. I'm doing math. I'm project mathing, trying to figure out what that is going to happen. And so I'm pumped about it. And so, yeah, again, appreciate y'all tuning in. Subscribe, make sure that you sign up and tell your friends, tell your homies, get them signed up. It's free. Now I know a lot of you
mods that won't respond back to our texts.
And a lot of you out there are in this role where you're like, well, I don't want to invite people. I need less competition. Tighten your boots up. Come to play. You don't want to be like, oh, I beat 100 people. You want to be like, man, I beat 2,000 people because I am him. I'm him. You know what I'm saying? So invite your friends, and everybody will appreciate a free chance to potentially get in the money. So again, thanks for tuning in. We're here every Friday, 9 o'clock Central Time. We'll see you this week. Good luck in week 1 of the playoff challenge, and we'll see you next week. We'll talk about how it went.
Yeah.
Peace. Have a good night.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to Fantasy Sports Advice.